Hello, everybody, and welcome to Stoked. My name is Chris.
And I'm Jeremy.
And this is episode 18 of our first season.
Also,
and
the last episode of our first season.
It is indeed. This is, we should say, the ultimate Star Trek Online podcast.
It is.
And we are getting all ready, like the rest of you, for open beta this episode. So this episode...
Excited? I'm excited.
Yeah. This episode's all about that. We've got some news stories we want to cover beforehand, some really interesting news stories. And then we're going to take a live Q&A session towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
You want to talk about, before we go too far, we kind of have a format change coming up for the open beta period. Maybe we should talk about that a little bit. Go ahead.
Here I go. When open beta begins, we're going to be doing two things, actually. First of all, and I think most importantly, we're going to be putting together new player tutorial videos for Star Trek Online. And these will help to give you tips and hints and behind-the-scenes information.
And we kind of look at it, we figure we're going to use the open beta period to kind of beta test our tutorial creation process.
Yes.
Part of our grandiose vision for our Jupiter Force, it's our fleet in the game, is we also want to provide tutorials to them, but also the rest of the Star Trek Online community.
Right.
So we're going to test doing that tutorial creation process during the open beta time. So we'll be taking a hiatus from the standard format Stoked episodes while we do that. Now, if there's something major that breaks, we're going to cover that.
Yeah, we will.
And so you'll have tutorials from us, and then once the game hits final on February 2nd, the Tuesday of that week, the show will be back in its standard, but maybe a little more evolved.
I think we've been talking about possibly
format.
doing a more evolved. That's a good way of putting it.
Thank you, sir.
More evolved.
Something, because, you know, the show has to change a little bit because primarily our news has been news coming up, reviews,
getting
screenshots,
excited about the
beta
game.
leaks.
Right.
Yeah, but once the game's out, we can't really talk about beta leaks and screenshots.
Right.
So we have a lot of things that we've kind of been brainstorming, and we're sort of we have the fortune of being full of a lot of great ideas when it comes to the show. So now we just have to cherry pick the ones we want to follow to actually really make them great ideas.
Yeah.
So, all right. Should we jump into the show here?
Let's do it.
All right.
Before we get started, though, do you want to make sure that Skype is working for you?
Oh, I checked. It's
okay,
good.
great.
We're good.
We'll be using that later on.
Yep. We have a couple of news stories to get to, but before we go ahead, while we stay on the topic of open beta and maybe throw out some of our surviving open beta tips.
Yeah. Now, this goes beyond things like remembering to use the bathroom and eat and drink and things like that.
Although important.
Yes, yeah.
You should probably pee.
Hopefully those go without saying.
And have a glass of water. That's what we recommend here at Stoked. Have a glass of water.
But really, we also want to remind people of a few things that'll really enhance your open beta gameplay and really help you get the most from it.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things I want to throw out there right at the beginning is remember that it is beta. Open beta should be very close to the release version of the game, and we admit that there shouldn't be a whole lot of crashing and things like that. But you got to remember that a lot of this is going to change. And as such, you need to expect to see some bugs, and remember to file the bug reports.
Even on release day with an MMO, nothing's final.
Yeah.
You know, there's patches that are always issued.
It's an ever-evolving genre.
The one I want to convey, which may not fit all of your game style, but I really recommend spend some time with the character creator. I know you feel like you have such a limited amount of time, but get in there and create your character, make something awesome, go and explore all your options with your ship, explore all of the character customization options. Don't just blow through missions. Research those options so when game day hits and you have to create a new character, because remember, it's a whole new character when the game final
Yeah, that's something I want to remind people is anything you do during open beta is going to go away.
Right.
So get all your learning out of the way.
So use the open beta time to sort of research creating the ultimate character. So on final day, you're ready. You've already got everything figured out, and you can make a character that you can stick with for a long time.
Right.
So pace yourself, but enjoy it, you know, because you don't have to race to the finish. You can't take anything that you acquire to the final game.
Yeah.
All right.
That also means that you can play around with different class combinations, delete your character if you want to, and start over because they're going to go away anyway.
If you is so crazy to do so. Now you have something on here about getting math. Why don't you explain yourself?
Yeah, I think that open beta is a prime time for people to familiarize themselves with the actual mechanics of items and skills and things like that. So really, you know, spend your time getting to know not only I'm trying to see what Chris is doing. What did I do? No, trying to spend some time getting to know not only what each class can do, but what might be some of the best ways to go about things, like theory crafting, some people call it, or min-maxing is another term for it that's kind of derogatory, but it's the same thing. You know, if you decide that your character wants to have the most badass weaponry in the game, then you need to know which weapons are going to enhance that.
And I admit this has been an area of weakness for me in the past. I still experience this with Champions, and I did with World of Warcraft. I've been better about it with Star Trek Online so far. But if you don't know what the different abilities can do and what the different bonus points mean in actual gameplay, you really miss out on a huge opportunity in the game to really kind of take advantage of the full potential.
Right.
And there's like this weird thing I have in my head where I just am pushing to get through. Don't have time. Gotta go.
Well, that's primarily because the beta right now is done in such brief window periods.
Yeah,
we don't have an unlimited amount of game time.
But I still want to say, it's take your time and learn what those things are, because you'll be a better player for it.
Yeah.
So. All right, do you want to talk a little bit about the staying informed portion? Because this is kind of a big deal. I think staying informed means more than just like follow the news, watch Stoked. I think it also means like drivers.
Yeah.
Are there issues with new NVIDIA drivers with STO, and maybe that's causing problems?
Right. So, stay on top of the forums and the latest dev posts and things like that, because they'll let you know if there's major crash issues that you can work around on your end before they have a chance to patch it, so you can keep playing.
Yes,
actually, very recently, you had a major problem with ground combat because you moved to the most recent driver for your video card.
Yep, I did.
Rolling back fixed it temporarily.
Yep. I figured, in fact, I went to the latest released version of the graphics driver. Then I had issues, so I thought, well, I'm not going backwards. And so I went to the beta version of the driver, hoping that would fix it. And nothing fixes except for rolling back to the stock Windows 7 NVIDIA driver.
Right, but if we didn't actually keep on top of the news, then we might not know, and then you would just be having a bad gameplay experience.
You got it.
So you owe it to yourselves to keep on top of things like that if you can.
Anything else on the open beta survival tips before we move forward? We should mention over at JupiterColony.com, there is a really great thread put up there with all kinds of tips that go much further beyond this, including staying hydrated and going pee-pee when you need to.
Also, one more quick tip is the gameplay is actually pretty well improved by grouping. So if you've got any friends that you can play with, definitely give yourself that opportunity.
Or coordinate with some of the people in our forum, or do something. The game, I am. It's so funny. I'm a social gamer with people I know.
Right.
In fact, Xbox games, I don't even play them most of the time unless there's multiplayer for people I know. But when it comes to like MMOs and online games, I am usually kind of a shy guy.
You like to talk to people, but play solo. That's kind of what I've noticed.
But I've had the most fun grouping up that I've ever had. So it's worth learning how to interact with the different social groups.
Yeah, and even right now in beta, they've got some pretty good group finding interfaces there in the user interface. You just hit O to bring up social. You can click on and find new friends. It's a great way to hook up with fellow Star Trek fans, really.
Yep. And another way to do it is search Twitter. If you go to search.twitter.com and you don't have to even have a Twitter account to search it.
No.
And search for people talking about playing the game. And then maybe if you want to join Twitter, you can hit them up and say like, hey, next time you're playing, let me know. Because you can kind of watch their Twitter feed and see if they've said anything obnoxious or seen. You can get an indication of what kind of player they are. Follow them there, and then
you can stalk them before you become their friend.
I like to consider it research. I like, research for optimal gameplay. All right, so let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's try to mention, now I don't have anything on the tip of my tongue, but I think you might. Just a quick shout out as a goodbye to closed beta. Any favorite moments you had in closed beta?
I've got many, and I plan to share more throughout this if we get a slow time in the Q&A, but I do want to share one big one right off the top, and this was something that is not going to happen in release. This is why I'm sharing it with you. The very first time they rolled out DS9, you were unable to leave. There was a bug with the zone, so that if you went there and you flew to DS9 and check it out,
which is already fixed because I've flown and left.
They fixed it since. They fixed it almost immediately, but the first night it was there, you couldn't leave. So there was a group of probably
the Bajorans.
There was probably 24 of us that were stuck there, and I want to say it was Gozer stopped by and visited us.
Yeah,
and not only that, but he then started spawning a bunch of massive ships in space, and
so you had something to do.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I know. He could have just warped us out of there, I think, if he wanted to, but instead he started like changing his own ship and a bunch of other things that we hadn't experienced.
You gotta love the power they have behind the scenes. How much fun must that be?
He basically stopped by and started playing Q.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. You also were
it was Gozer somewhere.
You were gonna mention something about the Planet Killer.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, okay, I'll bring it up since you mentioned it. I was going to save that one for later. But
come on, I want to.
We did run a mission with a full group of us of Jupiter Force, and the mission was capped off at the very end with having to take down the Planet Killer.
How do you do that?
I don't want to give it away.
Oh, okay.
It's part of the story, and it's really well done. It's really well written and everything.
I cannot
but when
wait
you finally get there to the Planet Killer, not only do you have to do that, but your entire force basically gets there, and you have the weaponry to take the thing down, and then all of a sudden, a fleet of like 8,000 Klingons warped into view to try to stop us from doing this.
Oh, I bet I know what happens.
Like 5 seconds later, 8,000 Federation ships warped in right behind us. Yeah. It wasn't really that many, but
no,
it was scaled up for a full group of 5. It was massive, and so then the Federation fleet was able to take on the Klingons and hold them off, hold them at bay.
So there's like this epic battle in the back as your backdrop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I don't have anything that cool, so I'm just gonna not say anything. Actually, my favorite moment from closed beta, and this sounds stupid, but it really is actually learning to enjoy PvP, because I have never done PvP in a game. I've never wanted to. I did a little bit, actually, one try in World of Warcraft, hated it, never went back.
Yeah.
My favorite moment is enjoying that again.
That's good. That's cool.
All right, let's move on to some of the news items, because some of these I find particularly interesting.
And some of them are very poignant, very timely right now. I have more to share on this very first story.
All right, well, so File Planet is selling closed beta to founder members, which I guess is a level of subscription.
And actually, they're selling this to anyone. Founders apparently get a discount or free key because they've been around since the beginning.
So they're selling closed beta keys for the last few days of Star Trek, which is, at this point, I'm not sure what the cost is, do you know? But it's like, I think
you basically have to sign up for what they call a founder membership.
A membership, a monthly fee.
$10 a month.
No, it's a monthly fee, yeah. And then I was trying to get the price, but I think you have to give them all your information before they'll give it to you. And then you get, for the last like week, half week of closed beta, whenever it's up and running, you get access to it.
Right.
Yeah, they don't list the price here.
I thought that Cryptic would have learned their lesson with trying to sell beta access by now. It has never gone well for them. They've just gotten backlash after backlash, and this is no exception, because that File Planet offer didn't come out until after the beta window had ended on Saturday. And File Planet... I
thought they got private beta time.
They did after the fact. This is what I'm getting to. The File Planet people released with that said that they would get access this weekend, but there was no beta window other than the Saturday morning beta window.
I see.
So Cryptic had to go and say, all right, well, File Planet screwed up. There was a miscommunication. Now you guys get access. So they basically reopened the servers for File Planet members right now. In fact, if you're watching live and act quickly, there's a chance you might be able to get in on that.
But for like an hour for $30? I mean, whatever, or $10 a month?
Yeah, it's probably not worth the cost.
Or you wait a few days and you play open beta.
I'd probably recommend waiting. I mean, the game is awesome, but it's not really worth paying
But you don't know
now.
You don't know when these File Planet people are going to be able to get in, and you don't know what state the closed beta servers are going to be in on this last week before open beta. They might be needing to take them down a lot more than normal.
That's true.
To me,
they might be pushing out a lot of patches.
Unless that includes a Star Trek Online digital download or something, I would not bother with it.
Yeah,
I just really wouldn't.
Yeah, but it's out there if you just can't wait.
Yeah. All right. So the next story I find also rather interesting, because it might be a bit of information leakage from Amazon, which has a track record of doing this. Amazon is pre-selling $30 worth of gameplay on for Star Trek Online.
It's like a game card. They
call it a time card.
On the back, and you put the key in, and it gives you gameplay.
It's just like buying gift certificates, only you can buy them for yourself. Now this is a $30 gift card. Or a time card, and it doesn't say in the description for how long it is, but looking
I could have sworn that it used to.
Well, if you look at a couple of different sources too, they say it is for 2 months of gameplay.
Well, 60 days.
Yeah, 60 days of gameplay. There's I'm thinking of buying a couple of these, because regardless, they're going to honor them, or they're going to refund me the money,
right?
So I'll put a link in the show notes.
Amazon is good about that.
I'll put a link in the show notes, which includes our affiliate ID. If you want to help contribute and support the show, you can buy those time cards.
On a $30 item, we'll get like 0.02 cents.
But there's probably, there's probably some risk. I mean, we haven't heard anything from Cryptic yet, although they did the same thing with Star Trek Online. Amazon was one of the first places to post the pre-order at the price for Star Trek Online, and there was no confirmation, and then later on they had it. I think this might be the same deal. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to do it because I trust Amazon enough that I feel like they'll refund me. But just don't necessarily, if you're a little uncomfortable with that, don't buy something for a game
unless it's been announced by the developer.
You might want to wait till an official announcement. I'm not too worried about it.
Which shouldn't be too long. I mean, basically the reason that we wanted to put this in the show is because there's been a lot of discussion on how much is it going to cost monthly, and this pretty much confirms it looks like $15 a month. Yeah, if
you figure a time card of $60 or for $30, $60 gets you $30 gets you 60 days.
Well done.
30. Okay. See, I don't do the math.
Yeah.
$30 will get you 60 days, which would be $15 a month.
Right.
So,
which is pretty standard for a prime market MMO these days.
All right. Which is what Champions is.
Yeah. There's really no reason to think that Star Trek Online will be different from Champions.
I want to just make a quick note. There's been a lot of leaked videos that have been online, and one of the main guys behind that, we found his YouTube profile, so we'll link to that in the show notes if you're interested. It's, at this point, pretty much...
Basically, he's got his own channel, and there's a whole bunch... There's some other stuff
You've seen it by this point, though.
Yeah.
You really have. If you've been watching this show, you've at least seen the screenshots.
That's a pretty good bet.
Yeah. All right. So the last item before we get to our live Q&A session is Suricata has
Suricata.
Has kind of been well known for creating some just amazing artwork. He's done some backgrounds for the show.
Not this one.
You don't. Well, no, this isn't necessarily the one they're going to see.
Oh, well, it's still not this one.
No, not the ones for the live stream.
Oh, it might be this one.
It might be. He's also done a lot of great drawings of starships and things like that. Now, he has posted.
And actually, I want to mention that Suricata has actually been around in the Star Trek Online community since
forever?
Way back in the Perpetual days.
My understanding
He's pretty
is forever.
well known.
Yeah,
forever.
So he's been playing beta, and he's gone ahead and updated his starship chart of the different ships with their specs from like Star Trek Online, like what their weapons capabilities are and things like that.
From the current beta specs. This includes their weapon placements, their bridge officer capabilities, the rank of their bridge officer stations.
So you know what your limits are and capabilities are on each individual ship. This is such a value. This is one of those things where if Cryptic had offered a $150 version of Star Trek Online that came in like a metal box with like a very nice manual, like almost like a book, this would be like one of the things that would be in this book because it's so high quality. And it'd be like, this is, you paid extra for this premium item, so here's a premium thing that goes in it.
Yeah.
This would be in there. And it just is, it's fantastic looking.
You know, actually, if Suricata was offering glossy poster printouts of this, I'd probably drop a few bucks on that.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Yeah. I'll be honest, some of the high-end information isn't 100% correct, but he's got the low-end ships all correct.
Is there something that jumps out at you as incorrect?
I was told that the weapon placements are not correct on the Tier 4 ships.
Oh, okay.
So, meh.
Well, we'll see.
It's a work in progress.
We'll see. It's very useful, so we'll link to that in our show notes. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to take some questions from the chat room? I'll set up Skype here.
Sure.
And you have your monitors over there, too.
I do.
So the next portion of the show we'll do for a few minutes here is we're going to do some live Q&A and answer people's questions about Star Trek Online that we can't answer, that we have something to say.
I'm going to go through some of the questions. We were up on the live stream for about 15 minutes before we actually started broadcasting and got some good questions in here. So I'm going to go actually through those while we get get the Skype set up here.
Make it show.
After I get a little comfortable.
Comfortable? What are you talking about?
Well, my pants are already off. How much more comfortable can I get?
That's what I was wondering. I mean, what, do you need slippers or something?
Okay, so here's some of the questions that came up.
Before you start, I'm going to take Ross's call and see if we can hear Ross.
Testing.
Ross, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. Well, you know what? We're going to let you jump on since we're doing things out of order because I wanted to test Skype. Did you have a question for us?
Yeah, my question was in regards to the sort of the UI. I mean, the Federation one is all really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, etc. But do you know, for the Klingon side, are they going to make it more Klingon style rather than having a Federation style?
You mean like the controls right now are still kind of have that Federation blue on them?
They've been redded. They've been given a red hue, and they also they make some different noises that are taken from actual Klingon computer sound effects.
Oh, okay, cool.
But they still have the LCARS look, and LCARS is not Klingon. So I'm betting that they're probably going to continue.
Maybe in 2409, the Klingons stole Federation computer systems because they needed to upgrade.
That the LCARS was superior. Possibly.
Yep. There you have it.
I don't think so. To be honest, the Federation side of the UI is still very much in flux. They did a rather substantial change to weaponry interface just in the last build that they pushed out. So
gotcha.
Even that side of things is changing. I'm betting that they will get even more Klingon-y as time progresses.
All right, so I see we have some more calls coming in, but I'm going to let you do a couple from the chat room, and then we'll jump to the phone.
Well, let's see. I had a couple questions regarding the character creator, and some people wanted to know the limitations and the abilities of it. There was actually a leaked video out there that was put up today, I think, from some guys called STO&apos. I don't really want to plug them too much because we were not allowed to put out video, and this guy was just doing it. But he got banned. So,
that was that guy?
Justice.
Oh, yeah, that was funny. No, that was funny. You know, that happens. You get all excited, and he was showing some video off. And
I
guess
on Ustream.
Live while it happened, he got banned on the air. That's kind of funny. Was that the question, though?
No. Anyway, so the questions were, is there full body fur in the creator? And actually, there's not even currently a fur texture for your face. Right now, none of the creatures that you can create really look all that furry. You can give them long hair and mutton chops and facial hair and bushy eyebrows, but there's not actually a fur ability. Plus, all of the character creators are just basically hands and face.
Well, you see, Jeremy, everybody needs to stay Starfleet regulation. So you hippies out there, if you want to join
you gotta
Starfleet,
shave your face.
you need to keep it clean and trim. You're representing the United Federation of Planets, boys. I don't want to see you screwing off.
Somebody asked if you can make an android, like I'm assuming a la Data. Yes. Basically, it's just a change of skin tone and eyes and things like that.
Oh,
Really
should
easy.
I totally do that?
You could.
You guys out there, I am so stumped. I don't know if I'm doing a dude or if I'm doing a gal. I got to figure out what I'm doing. So I'm thinking maybe Android might be the way.
Open beta is your time to test that.
Yep. All right. Should we take a call or do you want? All right.
No, we'll save the rest of these for
let's see
later.
if Pluck is still there. He's been calling in for like 20 minutes. Are you there, Pluck? Yo, dude. Are you there?
I'm here, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what's your question?
You're going to have to mute
My question
this.
is,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So if you call in and there's a delay, just remember you need to probably mute the live stream when we pick up your call because, which you won't know until you hear us, but kind of gets tricky. All right. Sorry, sir. Go ahead and I didn't mean to interrupt you.
all right, no worries. The question I have is, when you create a character, if you make an engineer but go on to, say, a science ship or a tactical ship, will that be a viable option for play?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. You bring your assets to that ship. So you bring like if you have like some sort of warp engineering theorist, and that ship, that's an ideal thing. If that ship's lacking in that area, you can bring that. You can bring it.
Yeah. Well, every class of ship captain will get a few innate abilities, and I think these are given by rank. That seems to be the case. So like my character is a science character, so I've got like an ability that
Dork.
I know. It's the closest I could get to mathing everybody.
Tactical. What's up?
I've got an ability that basically scans space, and it gives me a perception bonus to spot cloaked ships and stuff like that.
Oh.
I would have that ability even if I was in an escort or a cruiser.
Right.
So you take those abilities that your captain would have with you. Then the ships themselves have additional abilities. Although primarily the limitations and abilities put in place by your ships are dictated by their bridge officer slots. And I don't want to go too into that because it's pretty complicated, but that's the short
Maybe
version.
there'll be a tutorial on that.
There probably will be.
All right. Hey, and Pluck, I wanted to say I love your Skype avatar picture. That's hilarious.
Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in.
Take it easy.
No, it won't show up on the thing. All right, if anybody else wants to call in, you can just Skype us at Jupiter Broadcasting.
And
all
I'll
one
do
word.
a quick saved up question here to fill
Go for it,
some
dude.
time.
Yep.
If you go to end game with a low end ship, somebody asks, how heavily will you be handicapped? To be honest, we're not entirely sure because neither of us have gotten that far in the game, but we do know that as you progress, you can go back and re-equip your early ships with heavy, higher-end weaponry. So even though each ship is an upgrade in itself, like hull points and shield points and everything like that, you can beef up those lower-class ships to be probably not comparable, but not a huge nerf.
All right, the pet is calling in. Hey, the pet, can you hear us?
Yep.
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Not too much. Let me start by saying how much I love you, so guys.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Big question is, it's been playing on my mind for a while. You mentioned a while ago you just leveled up to get your next ship after the start of one. I was just wondering, when you do that, do you get randomly given a ship, or can you pick what type of ship you get?
I can tell you how this works. Chris hasn't gotten that far yet.
I haven't.
Slacker. What happens is that you're hailed by Starfleet and you're given a mission to return to Starbase, and the reward for that mission is your choice of 3 ships, either a cruiser, an escort, or a science class. And that's pretty much all it is.
We should say holler to Gozer, who just joined us in the chat room.
Hey, Goz.
Yeah, that is not now. That said, though, if you go ahead and if you wait that far into the game, you're going to have collected probably some gear by that point.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to bring that with you. So I felt like I'm getting gear right now that I can't even really use, and I figure I'm just going to save that in a bank. And
yeah, I had to do that as well. I had probably 2 or 3 pieces of gear that as soon as I got my next ship, immediately it was beefy.
Yep, exactly.
More beefy than I had already made my Centaur.
So the whole time, like flying around with the Miranda, I don't feel like I'm really wasting my time in that ship.
No, and you continue to upgrade your gear and your BOF stations and your modification slots and everything like that.
Yep. All right, the pet, thanks so much for calling in. And that leaves the phone line open now. If anybody else out there would like to call in, they can Skype us. And Gozer, if you want to call in with a question about the game, you're more than welcome to try to answer
we'll be
for
happy to try to answer that for you.
You have any questions there on your notes before we go forward?
Sure. How about, let's see, is there fleet versus fleet PvP? And is it ground or space? We know that we can set up individual war games. We haven't actually been able to do this yet, but it's a feature that's been announced. So these will be PvP battlegrounds that you set up, and they're private, and you can invite whoever you want. So if you want to invite a team from another fleet and go to town against them, that sounds like definitely something you can do.
All right, we've got Christina Chapman calling in, but she's got to mute her stream, or he.
Yes, please.
All right, we've got Christina. Christian. I'm not sure. It's small text. Christian.
Y'all can hear
Not
me
sure.
okay?
It's small. Yeah, we can hear. We're getting some feedback though.
All right, one second. Let me mute y'all.
All right, thank you. All right.
My question was, how much of a difference does it make for the turning radius for auxiliary? Whenever y'all did the interview with Daniel Stahl, he said the auxiliary does the turning radius. How much does that affect? Like if you had 100% auxiliary or like zero auxiliary, how much it allows you to turn? How much?
Well, before I answer
Here,
that,
I'll hang up on you so we don't get the feedback. So we'll answer you on the stream here.
I actually did a little testing with this on my own, just to see how much of a difference it makes. It's noticeable, but I don't think that it's a game breaker because no ship, even though it's a little sluggish to turn, it's not like, oh my god, I gotta turn.
It's not like if you played Star Trek Legacy on the Xbox 360. It's not that kind of turning.
Right.
And in fact, one of the nice things is one of the abilities. I don't know if I guess my ship came with it, where you have the maneuverability.
Yeah, the evasive maneuvers,
which has a pretty quick cooldown, so you can punch that and your ship will spin right around, auxiliary power or not, because it's like this emergency boost of power. Something Scotty must be down in the engine room kind of working on that.
Right.
All right, so we're waiting for our next call. We have more questions here.
Is there space chatter sound effects when you're near a space station? Yes, and I love them.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
All right, we have a phone call here. It's Chris. Chris, can you hear us? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's going on, man? You have a question for us?
Hello?
Yeah. We can hear you.
You're going to have to listen to us through Skype and not through the stream. Otherwise, there's like a 20-second delay. Hi.
There we go. He'll hear us. He'll hear us now. And
I got you through this.
There we go.
I don't have you through Skype.
All right. Would you want to call us back when you get it working? You can do some testing on with the Skype test lady.
Yeah, the delay just makes it impossible to
I think we'll take one more call because we're trying to. Oh, I wanted to say at the top of the show we forgot to get into this. We're going to try to approach when we not of course this is kind of the last episode of season 1, so it doesn't really matter. But future episodes we're going to try to do them a little shorter for many reasons. We'll get in a sec. But now we have Ross on the line. Hey, Ross, can you hear us?
Hi.
Hey there.
Question for you.
Sure.
When you guys went to check out the DS9 station, were you able to go through the wormhole?
You know, I didn't see the wormhole there. I didn't necessarily try, though, because I was so excited to get on Deep Space Nine, and then I had to move on. I was on a mission. But I think I heard people in Ventrilla maybe talking about the wormhole, so I think it might be there. I'm not sure. But the Deep Space Nine station itself was crazy cool.
The wormhole doesn't come out to play until except when you first zone into the sector.
Okay.
It's just sort of a
maybe I saw it and I just
an
forgot
effect.
then.
Right now, they've already said that you won't be able to go to the oh crap, was it Gamma Quadrant, Delta Quadrant? You can't go through the wormhole, but they have said that eventually there will be some content that takes you into the wormhole.
So I was saying we're going to probably try to do our main shows around 30 to 40. We're actually going to aim for 40 minutes. The main reason is when we get to about an hour, the file size gets over about 1 gigabyte,
which is why our last episode was so long delayed. It got too
it takes a long time to render. It's like a Richter scale of everything that gets pushed out from uploading to YouTube and then process. Like if you might have noticed the last episode, it took a day before it was processed into HD. It took YouTube 24 hours to transcode the video. So we're going to try to shorten it up until the technology can kind of catch up. But that's not really going to be super relevant because while the show goes on in tutorial form during the open beta, the tutorials will just be the length of the tutorial, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. It kind of depends on the content.
Right.
So that won't really kick in until season 2.
In fact, one of the tutorials that I'm planning is how to get through the tutorial as quickly as possible.
Oh, but you should. I just said you should experience the.
But Klingon players don't give a rat's butt. So if you want to show them how to do it in the speediest manner possible, we'll show you.
Yeah, and it's probably, I say maybe on all those kinds of things, you'll probably create a couple of characters during open beta. It's probably good to know maybe the first time go through it and really experience it and listen to the docile tones of Zachary Quinto. And then on the next time, just kind of maybe you'll be ready to rush through it. So I think we'll end the show there because we do want to kind of keep the length down. Was there any other questions from the chat room you wanted to answer?
It is going by so quickly, but
we'll hang out on the live stream for a bit and keep talking to you guys. But
here's a few more that came up earlier. Somebody asked if there are banks in the game. There are, so you don't have to keep everything on your person.
Explain to me what's the difference between the bank and the fleet bank.
Fleet banks can be accessed by anybody in your fleet that has the proper access authorities.
So if I find something epic cool and I want to share it with a fleet member, I put it in the bank and then they can just go grab it next time they're in game?
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. Anything else?
Let's see. We had a really big question. I think we're actually going to save. Somebody asked if there is a lot of ship/class tactics involved in large space battles, or if they just feel like Zergfests, where it doesn't matter what you are. That is actually a really big question, and it's a good one, but I don't think that we have time to go into it too
I'll give you a
much.
real quick answer. Just something quick. My first opinion is it totally depends on the players, because I've been in the situation where it was just a slugfest, and then I've been in a position where we decided based on whose skill sets were where with their ships, they had different tasks.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the people you're playing with.
Yeah, it does, and probably that latter group did much cleaner combat.
And it was way more fun. It was so much less frustrating.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun just to kind of be organized like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, people on the live stream, we'll stick around and keep chatting with you for a bit. For everybody watching the recorded version, we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up now. Thanks so much for joining Season 1 of Stoked. We can't wait to get the tutorials out. We can't wait to hear from you guys. Let us know how your beta experience is going. Join the community over at JupiterColony.com.
And we're going to actually be setting up during open beta at some point our own fleet forums that will also have a public place that you can stop by and chat.
Yeah, but it's going to be, keep watching JupiterForce.org for that, and then also we'll make announcements probably on our YouTube channel and in the Jupiter Colony forum when the Force is ready to go. It's close. The software and everything is bought and paid for.
Awesome.
So we're really close, and we're excited about doing that.
We're on the doorstep.
We are. And then we'll also probably do some of the tutorials live. I thought maybe it'd be kind of fun if while we're doing the tutorials, maybe if somebody was monitoring the chat room and taking questions as we do them. You'll find all that kind of information over at facebook.com/Jupiter Broadcasting when we're going to do those live events.
That's right.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Stoked. We'll be back next week with our first tutorial.